You'll never be able to retain your team members for a long period of time if you do not understand these 4 principles that I'm going to be covering in this YouTube video. My name is Bastiaan Slot. I'm 26 years old. I'm the CEO of AppointmentSetter.com, and in today's video, I'm going to be covering how I've kept 3 of my leaders for over 4 years long in my organization. And these 3 are specifically my COO, Jaap, my head of delivery, George, and my head of delivery, Paulo. And he's more sales specific, George is more setter specific, and Jaap does more of the operations, LTV, and a handful of other core responsibilities in my organization. And right now we do 4 to 5 million a year with our 2 companies combined. And so in this video, I really want to go over my lessons, how I've obviously, made the efforts to keep them for such a long time, keep the morale high, make sure they're growing, because I think that's one of the biggest things most business owners, especially in the info space, struggle with, because, hiring doesn't come with a plug and play playbook, right? You're working with people. It's all about communicating properly and painting a vision. So without further ado, I'm gonna dive right into it, and we're gonna start with the first one. And the first one that I have right here is understanding the stepping stones of growth, right? And so let's say you have a setter. The natural evolution of a setter is a setter to a setter manager, and they're going from a setter manager to basically, helping maybe in delivery, or going to operations, or another part of the company where more responsibility can be taken upon this person. But of course, the pay has to make sense for them and for you, and you got to make sure too, it's a responsibility that they enjoy executing upon. And so one of the biggest things that I think we've done really well with Jaap, George, and Paulo, and I'm gonna go over 2 examples here. With Jaap, for example, Jaap, he started off as an executive assistant back in October 2020, and he went on to start at 1.5K per month as a base salary. And every 3 months, I would increase his base pay with $1,000 USD because the value he added to my organization increased. And then he went from 1.5 to 2.5 to 3.5K, all the way up to 4.8K USD per month. And then I promoted him into my chief operation officer, where he had a lot of responsibility, which he didn't have when he was at 1.5K as an EA, right? Because as you work with people and as you trust them and as you develop, they can take on more responsibility, they can grow, and for you, you win your time back, and 2, you can make an ROI on your team members, right? So that's really how I've done it. And then with Jaap, he went from 4.8K again, all the way up to then an attached 2% profit share. Now he would also be able to make 10% extra if he would ascend someone from our core offer to our mastermind. And that way, Jaap basically was able to grow responsibility, experience new skill sets, grow his income, and with that, make sure his role too stays exciting. And the same applies for George. And so if you're a business owner and you are at the beginning of it, you're at maybe 6 figures a year, 7 figures a year, I'm sure maybe you have some of these core team members. And a very common question that I get is Bas, where can I find a setter manager, or where can I find a COO? And a very overlooked area of the business is your existing team members, right? If you've got a CSM, an EA, or you got a setter, they could make, right? Not always, but they could make for a great setter manager. They could make for a great COO. And so one of the biggest things that I see happen is that people hire a setter, they hire a closer, and after a couple months, maybe a year, they go, right? Whereas if you, before you hire someone, you also take in the long tail, right? Is this person someone that I want, that can evolve and that I want to evolve, right? So are they a culture fit? Do they have the skill to eventually get up maybe to a setter manager position, a closer manager position, head of CSM, right? And so these are very important things because, that's the second principle I want to cover. So the first one is understanding the stepping stones of growth, and also anticipating the hire you're making if there's someone that you see yourself growing. This doesn't have to apply for all the hires, but if you don't have leaders yet, this is something you want to look out for at the beginning, okay? Number 2, so just having a clear vision. That's huge, right? So let's say now you get someone that is a setter, and they want to go on to become a setter manager. Now, what I like to do, right, if a setter is in my organization, let's say for 3 months, and they're doing maybe 4 to 6K a month, and eventually they want to, make 8 to 10K per month and grow, get promoted, right? What I like to do is Zoom with them, jump on and understand their income goal and their vision. And then if they're making 4 to 6K a month, all I focus on is how can I bridge that gap in an appropriate timeline, right? So if they want to make from 4 to 6, 10K per month, how can I bridge that gap, and what is the timeline they're looking to grow, right? So let's say my setter's name is John. John wants to be making 10K per month in 4 to 6 months from now. Then in the first 2 months, I'll still have him stay a sitter, but I'll increase his commission maybe with 1 or 2%, and of course up the lead flow so we can like go from 4 to 6 to 6 to 8K per month. And then when the time comes around and John is proving himself, in the 4th or 5th month, I'll promote John and I'll give him like the necessary comp structure to make the 10K per month happen. And that way, like, he is completely motivated and pumped, like, to be here for another 6 months because he knows exactly where he is going, right? And that's incredibly important. You understand someone's income goal. There's a clear vision on how that's going to happen and the pathways you can provide within your organization so they can hit that. And obviously, one of the big things is making sure you are communicating it over Zoom. There's one core call to Pain Vision, and then on Slack, a bi-weekly call to make sure they're happy, right? And they're seeing that progress. Now, I'm making it sound like you have to make a big effort to keep them, but that's not what I'm, referencing to here. Really what I'm referencing to here is making sure that, in the back of your head, you're not afraid they're leaving, right? And the way you do that is by making sure they have a vision and you understand their income goal, the things they want to learn, and then you and your organization, you provide the pathways in the appropriate timeline so you can make sure they have all the tools necessary and you can provide those too, right? So that way you have a very incredibly motivated team member. You're getting more value added because as they make more, you make more. And that's one of the core ways you can get like someone from a team member to a leadership position, right? So that's incredibly important, okay? And guys, if you have any questions, please join my school community or my Facebook group. It's in the description down below, because this is such a nuanced topic, and everyone, like, if you're watching here, like maybe you got a team member with a unique situation or a leader with a unique situation, these are like one of those things that I'm just incredibly passionate about advising on. And there's so many great ways to go about it. And it's all about framing, right? Framing what that vision is gonna look like, understanding how they currently feel, why they feel the way they do, and then from there, like what they want to achieve. So understanding that fully, and then painting that vision together, what you're expecting from their end, what they can expect from your end, aligning and working, executing and growing, right? That's the way to go about it. And so that's the second principle. So we just covered understanding the stepping stones of growth, and I provided a few examples with that. Second one, clear vision, right? So I just gave an example of how you can go about it with a team member and how you can get them like from a team member position, regular position like a setter, closer to a leadership position and what it can look like, right? Third one, so communication on morale. So one of the biggest things that I see, and this is again, very nuanced topic, but I want to like keep it high level, is that leaders tend to not at all talk to team members or leaders about their morale and the vision. And so what happens again, you're gonna get the Slack message like, hey John, can we talk, right? And we know how those conversations go, but it doesn't mean that that's a bad thing. It just means like you need to know how to navigate it, right? And when you know how to navigate, someone that is demotivated and doesn't like see a clear pathway ahead for them, understanding how you can create a vision with the tools I provided you with in this video, right? So again, just to like recap that, the tools that I would use is like understand their income goal, understand what they want to learn, very big one, like especially for A players, it's not just about the money, it's also about the skill sets they can get to learn, right? If someone's already making 7, 9K per month or 4 to 6K per month and they're happy with the money and you assume it's the money, but they actually want to learn management or sort of like that, for example, make sure you factor that in, right? When you're painting that vision, that's incredibly important. Now, when I'm talking about morale and the vision, you really just want to make sure that you do that on the Zoom and you paint what that's going to be looking like for that individual that may be demotivated, okay? So that's the third one, just making sure you're checking in with the key team members. And the way, of course, the hierarchy works is like you do it with your leaders and your leaders do it with the team members that are operating underneath them, right? Now, last one I want to cover, replacing themselves if they ever leave, right? So let's say maybe something doesn't work out, right? Or maybe they have had a great run, right? Like they've been with you for years and it's time for like them to go like maybe to go from entrepreneur to entrepreneur or maybe to a different industry. And a big way to save yourself a lot of stress, time, headache is having them replace themselves, right? So let me give you an example with a setter manager leaves, right? You jump on a Zoom with them and you'd basically, of course, try to keep them, see if you can paint vision and like align on something. But if that doesn't work, then you want to make sure that there's a good value for value exchange. And what I mean by that is, you know, if they can provide you, your setter manager, they can provide you with the value of making sure they're going to be replacing themselves in a management position, making sure that all the setters are solid, hitting KPI, and they're aware of the leave and they're not going to get demotivated, and you know, they also maybe are going to be leaving over time, like they're all dialed in. And then basically they're responsible for replacing themselves fully before, you know, they part ways with your organization. And then a value exchange that you can provide is an amazing testimonial for them, making sure they get recurring commissions for another 3 months. You know, another value add that maybe would be helpful for them if you just ask them like, hey, so for this value I'm asking for you, from you, what would you like to get from me besides these 2 things, right? So incredibly, incredibly important. And I've executed upon all these, you know, 4 things, fortunately and unfortunately, and you know, unfortunately in the last one more so because obviously it's never ideal, but you know, it's just a part of business. It's a part of growth where you know, team members, leaders, they leave your organization at a certain part, and it's not a bad thing. It's just like, you know, the way business goes, right? So that's how I've been able to keep my team members for years. Biggest ones again are just like painting vision, really good communication, and making sure you're aligned on, you know, the trajectory ahead. So that's the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Any questions, let me know in the comments down below. And if you'd like, join one of my communities in the description down below. I'd love to see you in there. I'm gonna be doing a weekly live video in my Facebook group. So if you wanna attend that too, have any questions, just join down below, and then I'll be seeing you later. Take care.